science fiction on a screen so bright. Old classics and the new delights. The unapologetic geek will lead the way, with facts and fun to fill your day. Discussing every detail, every frame, from the eerie to the loud and the same. Gig along with all that's great. Those Sunday vibes you can't debate. Tug along with the Sunday crew. Geeking out is what we do. Giggle on, it's gonna be great. Don't be late, let's celebrate.
Hello. Thank you, Sarah. And what was the name of that program? Like Soma or something? Suno.
Yeah, I wrote it and made the thing, and there you go.
Yeah, that works. So that's where the song came from.
Yeah.
That was great.
Intro.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
Yeah, it only took me a couple of weeks to do it. So.
Well, you'll notice the panel is a little different today. We are missing Thrash and we are missing Damien, both of whom send their warm regards. They had to cancel today for reasons. They'll be back. Yeah, just reasons.
Scary reasons, man. Those reasons.
I know, man. Reasons cause everything.
So, right? Don't you reason around me, reasons. All right.
And also, we have a new guest down here.
Right.
Tracy, let's welcome Tracy to the stream.
Thank you.
I don't have to. There you go.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
She has her own awesome channel where she talks history.
Oh, yeah.
It's very cool stuff. Yes. And before we get started, as always, I have to say hi to everybody who is here in the chat. And we got people from all over the place because this is being simulcast on Sarah's channel, on my Twitch channel, on Harold's Twitch channel. It's just all over the place. So, hi to Mosh. Hi to Daryl Johnson, as always. Dan is also here, of course, from South Carolina.
Yeah, he's epic.
Yes. Vim Vanderstraten is here. And Danny is here again under a different name. No, these are two
Good job
different
that he's here twice.
Yes,
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Indy's here with a brand new excuse for not chatting too much. Interesting. That is definitely not one I've heard of. Can't you just say you're doing house chores like everybody else?
Hey, no. Let's. Indy, that's not fair because you're stealing my excuse from like Thrash from like 3 weeks ago. That's, like,
Oh, if it's good, it works, and you might as well. Yeah.
Oh, and Chaotic Kitten, I recognize that name. Hello, Chaotic Kitten.
Oh yeah, epic.
And Harold is here as always.
Oh yeah.
He's also one of my patrons. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and get started with talking about spaceships again. And as we go through this list, I'm going to try to bring up a bunch of pictures of all the ships we talk about, just so you know what we're talking about. This was Harold's idea. And it's a good idea. Give me some structure. I'm not good at structure.
Right on.
So the first ship, you know what? I'm not going to start. I'm going to let Sarah start. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to let Tracy start because she's
That's better. That's better. Yeah, do that.
Okay. Well, I've got a few of them. I'm like Thrash. I have to write things down, otherwise
we all do have lists. Don't worry.
I have a mental list.
I liked was that spaceship C-57D from Forbidden Planet. That was awesome. That was just too awesome for me. So that's one of the ones I have. I have more, but I'm going to like bore everybody.
No. Let's start with that because what's great about that one. Hold on, I'm trying to get a picture.
Oh, I got it. You keep talking. I got it. Yeah.
Okay. It's basically a flying saucer. Like it is the typical tin plate flying saucer, but what's cool about it is that the good guys are the ones in the flying saucer, and they're the humans that are in the flying saucer going to another planet. So it's like a flying saucer landing on an alien planet, and we're the aliens. I really dig that idea, and it's not something you see very often. You don't see humans driving flying saucers.
So retro.
It is, but it's kind of like, I know it's not the first flying saucer, but it is so iconic of a flying saucer that every flying saucer that came after it looks exactly like the C-57D. And it's got that like beam that it lands, and it's got like that blue beam on the bottom.
Yeah.
Give me 1 second. I'll share this. I'm trying to find like a lot of them were really small.
Oh yeah, small
So,
pictures. The bane
yeah.
of my existence.
Right.
Yeah, I mean that's what it looks like.
Oh, that was great.
Such a great ship.
I love that movie. Hey, Daryl.
That is one of the movies that is responsible for my love of science fiction, because it was my dad's favorite movie.
Oh, really?
Well, like his favorite science fiction movie. I don't know if it was his favorite movie. That was probably Dr. Zhivago. But he would always talk about it like it was this grand epic thing. And when I finally got around to watching it with him, it showed me that science fiction could be really interesting and not just, spaceships blowing each other up. It was like there's actually an interesting plot and all this mystery surrounding like the species that have been there before. And then there's psychology because you have the id monster and all this other stuff. It just kind of blew my mind with what was possible in science fiction. And that kind of is what made me love science fiction. That, and then of course I started watching Star Trek, which was also inspired by Forbidden Planet. I don't need to go into the details. It's on my video. I covered Forbidden Planet on my channel like years ago. But anyway, yeah.
For anyone who's new to the Unapologetic Geek, those videos are on his YouTube channel, The Unapologetic Geek. So go watch those, like those old ones. I've said this many a time. I show those to my kids, or I watch them myself for movies that I haven't seen. Inspires me to watch them. They're great breakdowns.
They are though.
And yes, it is loosely inspired by the Tempest, which is cool.
I thought
That's
it was
very
kind of
cool.
interesting seeing Leslie Nielsen in that movie. He was so young. And the funny thing is, I remember him from the Golden Girls, where he marries a Dorothy, I think it was, or whatever.
Right.
Just so crazy. So crazy.
Yeah, it's weird, like going back to these movies back in the 50s and 60s where they were trying to make Leslie Nielsen like a serious leading actor, whereas I knew him from Airplane,
Yeah.
Yeah. The first time I ever saw him be serious was in MASH, and I was like, I don't like this.
I remember him as the captain in the Poseidon Adventure.
Oh,
And
wow.
it was a serious role, but he was only in the movie for like maybe 5-10 minutes at most. But I remember seeing him there and being like, huh, he can act like regular actor, not be just comedy. And I didn't think much of it until I saw Forbidden Planet. And like, oh, they were trying to actually make him an actor. He tried to be an actor before he was a comedian. I get it.
Yeah,
Well,
no,
must have
I knew him
worked.
from the Naked Gun series.
Naked
Like
Gun,
that's
of
what I
course.
first,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
And so
That's so
like,
funny.
yeah, and so
yeah.
like anything after that, you're like, this just isn't right. So
Right? Yeah, exactly. Then, like I said, when I saw him in MASH, I was like, what's happening? And he made that to do Pratfall, right? No? Oh.
And yes, Wim van der Straeten, this is something I bring up a lot whenever I talk about UFOs, is that the idea of a flying saucer was basically a misquote or a mischaracterization of what he said. He said they were skipping along the sky like saucers, that they weren't actually shaped like a saucer, that they just skipped that way. They were more crescent shaped, according to him. But
oh, that's interesting.
but the flying saucer idea kicked in, and that's what became the cultural touchstone. I'm surprised I haven't told you that. I bring that up all the time.
No, I didn't know that. No, and but again, like just my little 2 cents on this cruiser is like, it's just again, it's to me, it's an iconic look, and I don't know if like generations today will recognize this as like the iconic ship anymore, which is to me kind of sad. But like when you see something of this shape, you're like, oh yeah, UFO right there. like regardless of what it is, even if it's a hat, you're like, oh, you got a UFO hat, right?
Yeah.
Whereas like the like my kids, I don't know if they'll know that like this is the classic iconic, you know, spaceship. But again, I love it because of that. So
yeah, good choice. Good first choice.
yes.
Way to keep
Right
us on.
on. But yeah.
So let's see. Ooh, oh no! Sorry, I misclicked.
Oh, that's okay. I get
Joey,
hazing
you're
all
so
the time.
fine.
This is my first show with you, you know, good haze, you know, the newbie, freshman.
What I really need is like a freeze button
Brilliant.
so that I can always freeze everybody whenever Thrash freezes on screen.
Oh no! I like how
That
you
would be
guys
wonderful.
take bets on that.
Yeah, right?
That'd be
Well, I think
wonderful.
How many
Screenshots
minutes
of
till Thrash freezes? Poor Robert.
Is he?
It's always so-
This is off
Dude.
topic, but is he doing the thing with you guys tonight, Sarah? Or is
No.
he doing his own thing? Okay.
I don't
thought
know.
Lance said he was going to be with him tonight. I'm like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's still going to have his stream tonight. He's just busy during the day.
Nobody told me anything. So
So if we continue in our normal order, I guess that means that Scott is next.
Okay. So I'm gonna go with I'll go ahead and share it. I'm going with it's not necessarily a spaceship per se, but it is a space base, and that's Deep Space Nine.
this is stuff of that too.
Like
I love these.
That's so
I-
cool.
yeah, it's just and like it's really just I love the little points here.
Pylon.
Very gothic.
Yeah, the pylons. Thank you. And like I like the whole thing to me is such a unique look, and it's almost to me like when I see this, it's almost Klingon. I feel like it's almost Klingon, right?
Yeah.
Well,
But-
it's supposed to be Cardassians, and
It's
Cardassians
Cardassian
are kind of
design.
like sort
Gargoyles.
of Klingon. They're like Klingon diet Klingons, or what the
Yeah,
Cardassians.
yeah. But like again, to me, but it also like with the circular nature and everything, it also has a Federation kind of feel to it. So to me, it feels very international, right? A very
Absolutely.
UN-esque, right?
Which
kind
is
of
the
feel to
idea.
it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, no, not really. It was designed like that. They were occupying Bajor.
But I mean, those like pylons that are up high and down low actually like serve a purpose. That's how the ships dock, and they stay out
Oh,
of
yeah.
the way. You know,
But
like,
the ducting ports all around the rings too, and
That's
the
true.
upper pylons and lower pylons. Yeah.
See, that
Yeah,
reminds me of those toys I used to play with back in the 70s. I think you put like string in them, and then you pull really
Oh,
hard.
yeah,
Yeah.
like the gyro
what I'm
or
saying?
The
whatever.
little
Yeah.
like, gyros and tops, and yeah.
Those are awesome.
Yeah. That's what it reminds
Definitely.
me of.
Absolutely, yeah. And so I just like, you know, and again, I don't know if they had this in mind, but it also feels like it's a great like little merchandise piece, right? That you can like, you know, make a little like figurine of or whatever, a model of and everything.
Oh.
So like it would be
I
great.
once had
But
that.
I loved Deep Space Nine. It's to me such a great show, and that like this kind of this base that's a living quarter and all this like was to me just iconic. Like I loved the show so much. I actually liked it. Like again because of my generation. Next Generation and Deep Space Nine are probably like very. I can't really say who's who or which is which. As far as like which I liked better, but it's definitely.
It's kind of amazing how like tonally different the two shows are. I mean, they both came out around the same time. In fact, they overlapped for a couple of seasons.
And they had crossovers.
And they had a couple of crossovers. But like, I mean, Deep Space Nine, it started off with Picard going up against Cisco, and they hate each other because they have completely different philosophies with each other.
Well, no,
and
they
also
hate each
because
other.
because
Yeah, because
Locutus killed Cisco's
killed
wife. Yes,
his
I know.
wife, right.
I know my Deep Space Nine lore. Trust me.
Like, too. Like, it's okay.
That was a cool show. That was really cool show.
It got me through
Oh,
high
yeah.
school.
Yeah.
Thank you
And
so much,
he-
Tracy.
TG got me through like elementary
Yes.
school.
Mhm.
And actually,
But yeah,
I will
Go
say
ahead.
the ship, the I love the design because it looks unlike anything else you've seen in Star Trek up to that point. Like, it doesn't look like any of the other spaceships or space stations, because those all look like basically floating. I don't even know how to describe them, but they look a lot more modular. Yeah, they look more like floating cities, whereas this looks like a space station. You see that and you say,
it looks like a castle.
Right.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
It kind of looks very gothic, like
A
you said.
space
Yeah.
castle.
Yeah.
It almost looks like it could kick at somebody's what.
Yeah.
What I liked about it,
It looks mean.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I'm saying.
what I like about it too is, like, this is why I was wondering if to consider it. So I hadn't really done much with it. But the thing is what I liked about it, because it orbited Bajor, then they moved it to the wormhole entrance, right? And it's like, so I guess it does count as a ship because they did move it.
Yeah, it works.
Sorry, Sarah, for interrupting you.
No, it's fine. I was interrupted.
We interrupt each other all the time. It's fine. You just kind of have to learn to go with the flow.
Just, this topic kind of excites me.
Well, that's
Right?
good. That's why you're here. Yeah.
Oh, Daryl's comment, I think, kind of nails it. It looks like a space station for vampires. It kind of like that's
That's accurate. That's extremely accurate.
yes. And so I like no, I really love it. And again, like Sarah, like it's like a castle spaceship. Now you're blending my fantasy in with sci-fi, and you're gonna really make me love this show, like, and push it over the edge for Next Generation for me, just for that. Like,
You're
every
welcome.
time I see it, I'm like, where's Arthur and Sir Robin and
Oh, they had Cisco,
Brave Sir Robin
which
ran
was-
away.
Yeah, well, yeah.
that's right. That's where
I
it
wanted
is.
to highlight this comment from Vim, though, because while I don't think Deep Space Nine was directly inspired by that, I know that the space station that you see in 2001 was inspired by that. And I do think the Defiant is partially based on that. Or not the Defiant, but the Deep Space Nine was partially inspired by that. So in a roundabout sort of way, maybe. Yes.
Door.
Everything's a ripoff of everything else, though. So just,
Well, yeah,
Absolutely.
that's how it is, and that's okay because original ideas haven't been around since caveman days, I would assume.
Mhm.
right.
That reminds me of the Discovery from 2001.
Well, that is actually a perfect segue because that is my next issue or my next spaceship. So I'm going to go ahead and share that.
Issue.
My next
Freudian
issue. Oh, come on.
A
No, no, no.
delightful Freudian slip.
Come on, share it. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? There it is. USS Discovery.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Okay, so
Yes, it is a flying sperm. I know.
I was thinking more like it looks like a weed pipe.
It could also be that. Yes.
You took it to a whole nother level. I was just gonna say it looks like drug paraphernalia. But
It
whatever.
looks like you could hit somebody over the head with it too.
There you go. Baby rattle, maybe.
El
Listen,
Kabong.
It's very close to what Arthur C. Clarke wrote down as his. I mean, he's the one who designed the original idea of it, but in Arthur C. Clarke's version, it actually did have sort of like airfoil wings. It made it look a little different. But Stanley Kubrick deliberately took them out because he wanted something that looks like it could not possibly fly in the atmosphere. That had to be built for space. So no wings, nothing that makes it look aerodynamic. It's not even remotely aerodynamic.
Jan says it belongs in Spaceball.
It's a giant space ball. Yes.
You know what that reminds me of? I mean, it's like, well, what it reminds me of? What it should say on the side is Pan Am.
Yeah,
because
totally.
Pan Am is heavily advertised in this. So I'm like, where's the Pan Am on it?
Yeah, it's great. It's brilliant.
That's
I love that.
no. I'm surprised that that it wasn't used in the movie Spaceballs. I'm like
Oh, that's
I
great.
like.
You can't tell me that
I'm
there's
very much
not at
surprised.
least some inspiration from the Discovery on Spaceballs. You can't convince me otherwise. But also the reason the engines are so far away from the main living space is because that Arthur C. Clarke was worried that all the energy production of the engines would be a problem for the living space, like it would heat up the living space, which now we know isn't really true, but back then they thought it was true. And so that's why the spaceship is so far separated from its engines. and in the middle he just put a whole bunch of cargo bays just for fuel and air and everything like that.
But there was no chompers in the middle of it?
There's no chompers in the middle of it.
Whoa. I'll still never say that. And we're going to make this wonderful ship and we're going to put some chompers in it for no reason. Did they help at all? No, you just don't die. Get to the engine room. Okay.
And
so,
if you like look really closely, you can see there. This is as close as I can get you. The pod coming out of it. I mean, the pods are also iconic. You got basically balls again, but they've got these little tiny thin armatures on them to collect things like Frank Poole's dead body.
I'm more like
but
Jimmy
those things are
Hoffa's
very yeah. They were and yeah, that kind of pod has been used ever since in science fiction. I think last time we talked about the Explorers, which is basically another little pod that like 3 kids build in their backyard and fly up into space. That looks a lot like the pods in 2001.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
Well done.
Thumbs up.
Dan's got all the jokes.
Oh my gosh, that's great.
Right?
So does anybody else have anything else to say about the Discovery?
Yeah, it's very It's awesome.
Okay, Sarah, you went from going first to going last, so now it's your turn.
Oh, well, I'm okay. All right. So I was thinking more like the Defiant.
Okay, let's get that up. Hold on.
Ooh.
You can go ahead and talk.
Okay. Yeah. So the Defiant, right? Built to fight the Borg, never fought the Borg up until the movie, and then it just was listing in space because Worf was in charge. Anyway, Worf's like ramming speed, and he just never gets to destroy it. He's just like, I'm devastated. Anyways,
well, at least Riker said it was a tough little ship, so you know.
Yeah, well, little.
Looks like a city.
You remember how the Fire Creatures, right? Yeah. Okay. Obviously, I started. Okay. So, the Defiant, right? Like, I remember, like, when the Defiant first came out, UPN Channel 13, whatever, would have a lot of segments on it, about how they designed it and stuff like this, and they would show them blowing up the model because practical effects are good. Okay.
Yes.
Anyways, and stuff like this. And I remember in 8th grade I went to a Star Trek convention, right? And they were talking about the Defiant when it was coming out in the next, couple months or whatever, right? And they did a whole presentation, and I was just like, "This is amazing." Yeah, I'm not cool. Anyways, and I remember when they finally showed the engine room of it, and it was like the biggest deal ever. Like all my Star Trek friends in school in 8th grade were just like, "Oh my gosh, they're gonna show the engine room," and we're like so excited about it. Then Odo finally changed it, and they were like, "Oh, well, that was interesting," and it was just amazing, right? Because it's fast, maneuverable. It's not like designed like the regular Federation ships, right? It had a whole different look to it, and the purpose of it was different too. It was typically a warship, right?
Which the Federation doesn't typically build. Yeah, so it's
right.
very unusual.
Right. So it was, what they say was overpowered and stuff like that. Just it's gonna fly apart every 5 minutes because that's what they make anyways. And I loved it because it had like an aggressive look to it versus the circular. Hey guys, we're circles and friendly. This is like, nah, dude, we need to deal with the Romulans. We got a cloaking device on it. Come on, it's designed for war. It's designed to fight, and I liked it. And then the Brain destroyed it, and then they made another one.
I was like, when I first heard that they were bringing in a starship to Deep Space Nine, I was actually opposed to the idea. I thought it would take away like what made Deep Space Nine Deep Space Nine. It's about a space station. It's not about a starship, right? But I mean, they used it sparingly and they used it really well. And also the fact that it looks so cool and is so maneuverable. Right. It won me over almost instantly. Like within 1 or 2 episodes of it existing, I was fine with it.
Right. What my brother, my cousins, and I used to do, right? We'd get our Star Trek ships, right? And we put batteries in them to make sure they had all the sounds, right? And then we get Lego pieces because Legos are deadly, and we launch them at each other and we play ships like that, right? And my cousin had a Deep Space Nine, and I mean he ended up destroying it. But anyways, we do that kind of stuff, right? It was amazing. And I mean, I don't know if I still have any of that stuff left these days, but man, Deep Space Nine, like, because my cousin's kid loved this when I was an 8th grader, right? So we were all watching it together, right? It's one of those things that brought everyone together every week, right? It was awesome.
Yeah,
Very
and
cool.
Very cool. Excellent.
Yeah, it looks. I'm sorry to interrupt, but it looks so stealth.
It does. It has a cloaking device. Yeah.
But the inside of it is very cramped. It's like a actual Navy ship, right? With like the bunk beds and
it feels more like a submarine. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's definitely designed for war, not comfort, right?
Right.
Well, I like that you bring up that it's much more like a submarine than a spaceship or whatever, or a starship or whatever, because submarines were going after like destroyers and things like that, and when you think of like the Borg or whatever going over so it's something very stealth, something under the water you can't see, and then they're going and they're blowing up your big ship that you're going to take over with or whatever, and so that's it's very in line with like the purpose of the Defiant. So
and that's very
and I love the name.
And
I love the name Defiant. Like, no, like what was it? Resistance is futile, and like, no, we're gonna be defiant to that, right? And so like I again, like 2 layers deep, right, or whatever. So.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, it looks different from like your typical Starfleet ship, but it still looks like Starfleet. It kind of looks like a phaser, so like it still fits that aesthetic.
It does.
Remember, like in Voyager, where they had those compression phaser rifles that were at the top of the town too? It was like, whoa! I like Star Trek a lot. I watched all this stuff. I wrote fan fiction back in the day. We won't talk about that though.
It's okay. Yeah. I've written an entire Metroid movie, so it's fine.
Yeah, but I wrote it with a bunch of girlfriends in high school, and you know what that leads to. I mean, remember when Worf and Jessica got married? Well, Anyways, romantic novels were a thing.
Okay, well, on that note, Tracy, it's your turn again.
You're gonna laugh me out of Dodge here, but this but the TARDIS from Doctor Who is a spaceship.
Yes.
Bigger on the inside than the out.
Right.
I mean it's a show that's really been around for like decades now, and I like how they kind of brought it back so that the younger folks kind of like know, because it's an old show and it was cheesy at first, but that's why I kind of liked it.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but on the other hand, I mean, it's like, it's just something light, fluffy, it's not anything big. Thank you. And it's not like, like the Defiant, it's like so soft and cottony compared to that. That's
I love it though because it is bigger on the inside than it's outside. I love that concept in general because there's other ships like that and like Star Trek and stuff too with that concept, and I always thought that was really cool because, well, how, right? I mean, is it like interdimensional inside the ship? Is the ship itself a dimensional box of a sort? Like, I don't know.
It's a tesseract.
Yeah, that too.
So and the thing that's like really great about it, because also it shows, like, again, the police box is a cloaking device of its, right? Like, so that it, like, when you're on Earth, it looks normal, which again is great for when you're on Earth, but they're not on Earth. Oh, like there's a lot of times they're not on Earth. And so, or in the time zone in which a police box would be like a normal thing. And so I don't know how
I have 8 of them in my backyard. What are you talking about?
And so, but no, the thing that I love about it is that, and that what's kind of terrifying is that, not kind of, but when you talk about a pocket dimension or a pocket universe within this box, right? That it's like so expansive and everything. It just shows how far ahead they are from our own technology, right? And that how like this one person could like with that kind of technology could really like take over things, do some massive, damage, all that different whatever, right? Yet is constantly using this, like that old saying with, absolute power leads to absolute corruption or whatever, right?
Something like that, yeah.
Power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely, right?
Well, yeah, that makes sense.
And so, but yet with him, for the most part, there's always there's a few times where they're like, "Do you have the right?" or whatever. Who watches the Watchmen kind of concept.
Mm-hmm.
But for him, he's constantly doing like kindness, right? And working to not allow or it. Let me say it. Or they not it. They are constantly working to try and make sure that they're using it for good rather than. And the responsibility, they're constantly talking about the responsibility that they have as the doctor and stuff like that. And so I really like, it's a show that my youngest got really, really into and that we were watching as a family and everything. And then we started watching once and we're about to finish that and then we're going to go back. But it just shows a lot of like, they do a great job about like, discussing, giving families like great conversations to discuss, as far as values, ethics, morals, things like that. And I love the show, and the TARDIS is iconic. It's everywhere. So.
Yeah. I've loved the show for years. I went to many Doctor Who conventions in my past. In fact, I went to the
Nice.
same one that Thrash went to, but it was in Chicago, and he saw his. I guess his was in like Massachusetts or something. I think.
Wow.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
would-
So we went to the same one, just in different cities. And Thrash and I are the same age, so it's like we remember all these things from the past, but they were so much fun. It was just fun.
I went to a Star Trek convention in the, I think, early 90s with one of my best friends. And he actually chased John Delancey, the actor who played Spock. He chased him into a bathroom and got kicked out of the convention. And I had to deny that I knew him. I'm like, I don't know that guy.
Hey,
I'm not with him.
I went in 8th grade to a search convention in Anaheim with my mom. It was on St. Patrick's Day, as a matter of fact. It was awesome. And I met, gosh dang, I can't, Roddenberry's wife. What the? Majel Barrett.
Majel
Met
Barrett,
her. Yeah, and a few others and stuff. It was awesome.
Very cool. I've also been to Star Wars Celebration like recently with my son. That was fun.
Oh, that's great. Was it like the holiday special?
There's this one scene I can't help but remember. About Star Trek conventions where Bill Shatner was actually at one or whatever. And he's basically saying, what are you guys doing here? You're taking a whole small show and to make it a colossal waste of time.
Get a life.
Yeah.
He said that to, and they said something like the one guy, he says, hey, have you ever been with a girl? Like, oh my God. I'm like, Bill.
When they were canceling Enterprise, right? My mom asked me if I wanted to ditch work and go out to Paramount and go protest with them. I was like, yeah, sure, of course. So I did that, right? And I just as I ran across the street, because there was no parking, so Mom had to go find a place to park and then join me, right? She said, get out. And I was like, okay. So I ran across the street, right? And over to Paramount. Yeah, I used to be able to ride. It's crazy. But anyways, I got there, and just as I got there, I saw at the corner that Jeffrey Combs was walking across the street, right? And I was on my way to go be a nerd, and I stopped myself at the light, and I went, wait a minute, what am I doing? That's weird. I don't want to be creepy, but I want to meet him, but I don't want to be creepy. So as I'm debating in my head how to handle this, right? He just, in the middle of the crosswalk, just turns around, walks back towards me, shakes my hand. Yes, this hand, everybody. And shakes my hand. Thank you for your support. I'm like, they were welcome.
He knew. Yeah.
And then he just walked back across the street, and I was like, yeah, that just happened. And then the guy who played Martok came and gave us his autograph and met him too.
AG
His
for
hand
Oh.
shook it too. It was awesome. So yeah,
That's
I will.
so cool.
Who wants to take bids on my right hand?
My second
Right.
favorite Klingon behind. Borg.
Right?
I've always had an issue. Like, was Shatner ever known for anything like beyond?
Well, T.J. Hooker.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
that law
Touche.
show,
I
whatever it
forgot about
was.
that. Yeah.
I forgot
Yeah.
what it was
Yeah.
called.
Boston Legal. No, that was a good
That's
show.
it.
Well, yeah.
He was good in
Yeah,
Boston
Boston
Legal.
Legal.
Yeah.
But I like
about
because
for the best.
like I feel like he got Boston Legal because that was like I'm sure
By that point,
like, yeah,
Shatner was Shatner. I mean, he's
Right.
what he is now. You know.
and I feel as if, and I could be wrong with this, but I
He wrote
feel
it,
as
didn't he?
if
He wrote Tech War. Sorry.
like
Yeah, he did.
Shatner, a lot of where he got to was off of the backs of Trekkies, right? And in fact, the reason that he got to fly to space and have that monumental like moment was because of a Trekkie, because of like Bezos is such a huge Star Trek fan, right? And so much so that he started a space company off of it, right? And
Well, he's a
to
robot.
not
I sense
have
a conflict of interest.
no. I'm just like, but like for Shatner to not have gratitude, right? Like to because I've never felt he truly respected what
Okay, the Get a Life thing was an SNL skit. It wasn't like he was still a
Yeah.
nice guy to fans.
Oh, he was
Yeah.
really
No,
nice.
he's not.
Oh, was
He's
I don't know if he's
notoriously known for being an a-hole to fans. Like,
yeah
Oh my God, what an ego.
yeah no like that's
definitely has
like
a huge ego. Yes.
yeah like I don't like I've from what I've you know I've never met the guy or anything like that but like from what I've gotten from the what I've read and stuff like that is never had the gratitude towards the fans that they deserve, because so much of what he has when it comes to like the movies, when it comes to like everything, is because of these fans love the character, right? And so like to not have that kind of like gratitude for the fact that your money comes from other people spending oodles of money on you, right? And without that, you wouldn't be anywhere like that you are now. Like I like it's always irked me.
I'm jaded enough to think that most people in Hollywood feel that way and are ungracious, spoiled brats. So like
Yeah.
Shatner being an egotistical bastard is not really like a big shocker to me. It's like
it's sort of like, of course.
it's like when he and George
Hey,
Takei get into it and they both hate each other. I'm like, yeah, you're both right. You're both awful.
I don't like agree with that, because I think there's a lot of like people in Hollywood that like to sign the that
Oh, there
like
are
they'll
some.
set boundaries.
Look, I've met a lot
Yeah.
of celebrities. I met a lot of
Yeah.
celebrities when I worked at Disney, and yes, there are gracious celebrities who are very nice
Yeah.
to fans, but a lot of them are not. A lot of them, even when they are nice, they front face nice. Once you turn off the cameras and you turn off the lights and you get the fans walking away from them, the mask falls off. You know, like
Yeah.
I've seen that, and I'm not happy about it. But
You
like,
know, one of the celebrities that I met, was Adam West, and he used to buy stamps for my mom when she worked at the Pacific Palisades back in the day, right? And he remembered her, like he remembered her from the
Wow.
'70s, and this was like in Pacheco, like a few years back before he died, like maybe a year or two before he died, right? And then he also had sent me in high school. I wrote to him, right? And he sent me an autograph picture, right? And I didn't remember that, but he did remember my mom. And my mom showed him a picture of it. I had the video on my channel. And he showed him a picture, and he's like, "Yeah, no, I do remember." And he went on. I was mayor during that time, and all this other stuff. It was awesome, right?
it's very cool.
Some people do remember, right? And they, may not always be, on point, but some people are just overall pretty good, And I think Adam West is one of those kind of people.
Wow.
I would also throw in like Disney, we're happy, but we're not happy with the other people that are there, right? Because like like, and so it's as happy as a place it is. There's also this ambiguity of annoyance, because if you've ever stood in that Peter Pan line, that's a 90-minute line, you get really tired of people really fast.
Celebrities
right?
don't stand in those.
That's
lines.
why I
No. I get that. I know they don't. But what I'm saying is it's still a very crowded thing. They're human. They get irritated like everybody else. Like, and on top of it, we're not harassed 24/7, right? Because again, how many,
You're not?
you know,
You're
like,
not
and,
YouTubing right.
like, I know, right? I know. And so, like, I know, and like, cut to me ever getting any kind of, like, you know, fan support, like, and then like a video of me going like, oh, are you serious? I'm just trying to have like dinner with my kids. Harold the Hatter, total jerk, right?
That's funny.
Right? So then you'll know you're YouTubing
So,
right.
anyways, like, yeah. So I try to give a little bit of grace, but like the levels of
But
Shatner's,
Kermit, a
like,
celebrity is not a people.
With Shatner, I'm like, narcissist much?
yeah,
Shatner
right.
is
Like
definitely
he
he's definitely
takes
at
it
the
to
top of
another
the-
level.
Yeah, like
But he's the
Shatner,
and
Shatner,
again-
so
he is the
Right.
Shatner. Yes.
And again, like celebrities have so many yes people. Like you see what happens to, like, we're seeing it. You see it in politics and all kinds of different
Yes.
stuff. When you surround
Yes.
yourself with yes people, right?
Yes.
Because you have money, power, clout, whatever, then it makes you a horrible person. You need people in there.
Not always.
That's why
I will
love
say
Tom.
one of the nicest guys I ever met was George Lucas, and yeah, he had a lot of yes men around him, and that kind of like made the prequels
yeah, I saw
so
those Star
great.
Trek things.
But
Why would we tell him no? I'd be like, no.
he was a very humble, nice guy. Like, I'm sure he still
Oh.
is, and he was always talking about his adopted kids, and he didn't really understand why he was a celebrity. Like, he just thought he was some guy writing some weird stuff and making some movies with his friends, and all of a sudden he got mega popular. And he's still at, like, he's like 70 now. He still doesn't quite grasp that. Like, what is this celebrity that's been thrust upon me? I'm just a
That's-
dude.
Well, he doesn't get a lot of things, and that's why we have Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah. I mean,
See?
like, he had yes men. He had yes men all around him, but it never really made him into that egotistical jerk that it does for so many other people.
You know, that's the same way when I met Stephen King. He was signing books. My dad was a published author too. He wrote books. My dad did, but they were both at this one huge book signing for this big store in Chicago. Like, I'm from Chicago.
Chicago.
Yeah, so it's like
I love it.
he was just wearing like overalls and like a t-shirt underneath, and one of the clips was halfway down, and he just looked like something like, he's just like, at the time he was
Okay.
signing books for The Shining, which I should have gotten, but I was 13 years old. What do I know? But I mean, it's like,
Wow.
he was just like, his attitude was like, where's all this coming from?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
I-
that's the big difference, is that some celebrities see it and they think, oh, I must deserve this. I must be the greatest thing ever. And other ones are just like, I don't understand why I'm popular. Like, I'm just a dude. I'm just a person doing my
Right.
thing. So, yeah.
Yeah. Not
Okay,
losing
sorry.
yourself in the thing is always a good thing.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you, Scott. I'm really not. I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Yeah,
I've just
no,
I've
no,
seen
I-
a lot of
but-
celebrities. I've talked to
That's
a lot
okay.
of celebrities, and
But I again, I don't disagree, right? I like, and I like that there is a level of entitlement, because again, like, you go to an award ceremony and they're getting hundreds of thousands of dollars of free stuff for what?
They
Right.
they existed and said words. It's amazing.
Right. And like Ricky Gervais, like, doing those Golden Globes, cutting them down, like, that's not cool. Like, what are you doing? You're not saving any kind of lives. You're not a surgeon. You're not, like, on the front line in a war zone. You're not, like, what have you done, right?
But
And so,
the entertainment
but they're
does
getting
save
these
lives.
free things, right? But they're getting these free things, right? And when you're constant, like, the best way to get free stuff is to be incredibly wealthy and incredibly wealthy and known, right?
The best way to get free stuff is to be able to afford it, and they just give it to you.
Right, exactly, right? And
You
so-
afford my stuff to have it for free.
Exactly, right?
Like tonight, the Emmys are going to happen, and the same thing.
Oh, is that tonight?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's tonight, Scott. It's the same thing. I mean,
I'll be
I'm just
busy.
agreeing with you, Scott.
Yeah. No, it's and so it's yeah, they're gonna get like all of this, like a free iPhone and a free like for
Swag.
in
My
right swag
phone's came
bags. Like,
together. I need a new phone.
I know, right?
I'm a nice person most times.
And,
Well, there
and,
and say words.
Same here.
and so like when you get all of this stuff for nothing, right? Sorry if I keep hitting the mic, but like you're getting all this stuff for nothing. That does affect you a lot, and so it really
That ain't
really
working. That's the way you do it. Get your money for nothing. Yeah.
is. Yeah,
Checks for
right.
free.
Yeah, right. What a
Yeah.
life.
Yes. You send it to my address of please, and there you go.
Yeah, they get those tremendous swag bags. Everybody who attends those things gets those. I'm like, why are I mean, like,
And
why
no
are they
tax write-offs.
doing that? It's like,
Oh, business
why?
expenses.
What a waste of money.
Yeah.
Yeah, Indy's right. They're basically advertising. Like they're trying to get like these celebrities to really like their products so that they
Product
will
placement
show
is
them for
everywhere.
free, you know, and carry them around and be seen in public holding the latest iPhone.
Oh
and
God.
Right.
Yeah.
A
Yeah,
walking
man,
billboard.
we
is
gotta
what they
move
are,
those refrigerators.
And move those color TVs.
And color TVs, yeah.
Especially those color TVs. I hear that they're the devil.
The devil went down to Georgia.
there you
Yeah, I heard that too. He was fiddling around. But anyways, never mind. All right.
I'm not
so
entirely
spaceships.
sure if that's true or not. I do think that there are other people who do get free stuff, but for the most part, you're right. It's just the nominees who get the big swag bags.
Right.
Yeah, everybody else
To get them to
napkin.
actually show up, like
Right,
nobody
exactly.
wants to go with them.
Yeah, come here and suffer this wonderful show we have for you. Oh, what?
They also
Right.
give swag
Oh.
to the journalists who are there at the red carpet. They also get swag.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah. None like getting buttered up.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait.
They'll be there
Wait.
next.
Mm,
I take umbrage with that, Tug.
What?
There is no way that you are telling me that someone that reporters would allow themselves
not
to be
objective.
bribed. What?
That never happens.
They are above reproach.
You know, it's like those people who get paid to review games, right, on YouTube and stuff. They're reviewing the box. Why? Because they got paid to. They're like, the box is so great. Who gives a about the box? I'm talking about the system. Tell me, is it going to cost me too much money to keep up with it? I mean, but the box, yeah, you're right. The box is amazing. Cool. Now, what? That's how you always know they're paid, because they go on about the box.
Like
That reminds
an
me of
IGN
like-
review that talks about the water physics, you know, because they can't talk about the actual game.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. The physics of the game are
That's
really
so
good. I
more
mean, it's
fun.
just like, wow. Yeah, look, there's no glitch in this part here. It's amazing.
It's like they're more impressed with the box something came and the actual something that's
Oh, yeah,
inside.
man.
You know.
Yeah, it's like, you know, when I get a new box of razors, right? I go, man, this box is amazing. I can't wait to use the box to shave.
That's why you
I-
got to get
I-
your movie reviews from YouTubers.
Right? But not your game reviews.
Absolutely. They're the ones that are spending. They're actually going out and purchasing the box, right? And then reviewing it and not getting paid anything for it.
This
Right, they're like,
box. I love the
Yes.
box.
right?
Uh-oh,
And the packaging is cool, and eyes don't
have-
bleed looking at it. It's amazing.
This stream has just gotten shut down by Universal.
And Paramount and CBS and all of them.
Right,
CBS
exactly,
took it down
yeah.
before. It was not fun.
Oh, God.
I'm sorry about that because I've got the spooky season coming up and I'm not going to review any Universal horror movies. Makes me sad.
Well, you can if you just use the stills of it.
Yeah, but that's just not the same.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right,
exactly,
but
Bim. You're
Yeah, I've been
Mhm.
Anyway, Scott, I think it's your turn.
okay.
Oh, yeah, ship.
Let me. That's right.
Yes, ship.
Spaceships. All right. So I got to go with another Spaceballs. Like I brought up the Eagle 5, and now I have to go with an even more or not more iconic, but like a tear down iconic ship from One Step Down, like A1, like A1 and or 1A and 1A and 1B, and that's Mega
second
Maid.
one. Yeah, I was thinking about that too. Love
Okay.
that.
Like, it's the Statue of Liberty with a vacuum. I just,
Like a Kirby
like-
vacuum too.
oh man, like, oh,
You
the
know they
old
made it
school.
the Statue of Liberty just for the Planet of the Apes joke. Like that's the only reason it looks like the Statue of Liberty.
Well, but also like, no, like I like on a deeper level, like I love the like misogyny, like the jestful
course.
misogyny behind it, right?
She's
And
gone
that-
from suck to blow. Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
Like, but like, just also like, here is our, like, we talk about liberty and freedom, right? And it's such an American thing, and our like, we at times disrespect the you know, Statue of Liberty and the who wrote the poem? Oh, why does it escape me now?
I don't know that poem.
Yeah, bring me your
Gar-
tired.
Yeah.
Oh,
Anyways,
I'll look it up.
if you can
keep talking.
Yeah. So like we take such, like, we step away from that concept like so much that we don't like it's more like this is a brand rather than an earnest ideal, right? And that now we are taking Lady Liberty and she's a maid, right? She's a servant rather than actually an icon of what our country represents, right? And so it's and then also, like, I'm gonna tout, like, as a married man, our you know, wives like carry so much, and yet we diminish their values in so many different ways.
I'm the one who does the vacuuming.
And
in this
so,
house. I don't
like,
know what
again,
you're
like
talking
this,
I don't vacuum. There you go.
you know, Tug, we've talked about this in our podcast, right? As far as like our housing dynamics, but no, like, but still, like, in like, but more like generalized, right? Broad brush generalizations, like, you know, hey Lance, sorry, I was gonna type it, but I wanted to say hey, but like, with our, you know, in broad brush, like like our wives carry, you know, our women carry so much societally and everything like that, and yet we diminish them in so many. We take what they do and we flip it into a negative rather than a positive, and that, you know, this country, you know, we can say that this country was built upon the working people so much, or
I
whatever.
don't know what
an
you're talking about.
American
We
worker.
built this city on rock and roll.
Well, that's
Well, I was going to say something a little bit
that's
different.
Speaking
but
of starships.
rock and roll, yeah.
but yeah, so like, you know,
I did not see that. That's great. Good job. You got me on that one.
and so like it just you know, that we could say it's not the worker, but without, you know, as we could see, like, what's happening to our country without someone at home to, like, really kind of manage things, like, they lifted us up, yet we took that as a diminishing, right? Because it's not a profit, it's not a profitable endeavor to take care of the home, right?
Ain't that the
Except right, except it really is, right? And so
oh my god.
so this, like, to me, like, this, even though, like, they may not have intended it, but this, like, spaceship on so many different layers represents so much. And again, this is made in the 80s. I think, like, I'm pretty sure this movie was made in the 80s, and we're so much, even, like, so much further. Like, the younger generation that might see this, like, might see just, like, how much further we've taken this and gone away with it, like, and ran away with it. And so it's like, to me, this spaceship is iconic in so many different ways, in so many layers. Sorry, New Colossus by Emily Lazarus. Oh yes, or Emma Lazarus. Yeah.
I feel like I would have remembered that it was called The New Colossus, but I would never have remembered the name Emma Lazarus.
No. I said Emily, and I forgot. Like, I forgot Lazarus, and yet it rose again. No, but like, I was thinking gargantuan, and I was like, no, that's not right. It's not gargantuan. But anyways, yeah, I love that spaceship.
No, it's fantastic, and it's the whole. It is Spaceball 1. It's the same ship from the beginning of the movie.
It went plaid,
But yeah, it goes to plaid. Yeah,
right? Also,
Yes.
and I love that their
plaid,
big
so.
plan to steal all the oxygen from this planet's atmosphere.
I like the Perry air. The Perry air is the best. Like when I was a kid, the equivalent for me to that was, the tennis ball cans, right? We pop the top on that.
Yeah.
Oh man! I opened every can we had of that. My mom was not happy, but that smell was amazing.
Oh,
Whenever the air
Vacuum
conditioner kicks
smell?
on in this house,
What?
like
No.
me and my son will still occasionally quote that air. I'm breathing.
Yeah.
no. Anybody remember? Because again, like the kids today will not understand this, but like the old school vacuum. I'm pointing at the picture
Kirby
on my
style, yeah.
monitor. If anybody, but like the old school vacuum bag, right? Anybody like? Do y'all remember the smell of the vacuum? Like from that, like I like to me, that's a nostalgia. That's a love that that kids will never experience. And I feel
And
bad.
that
for
trauma that modern dogs no longer have to deal with. Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
there was a
My
vacuum that
German
we
Shepherds
had.
will hate it.
There was a vacuum that we had back in the day when my parents had a cleaning business, right? And I had to go tag along with them. It was so loud it made me cry. Like I couldn't stand it, right?
Oh, no.
And so when my mom would vacuum, she's like, "Okay, I'm going to turn it on." So run to the door and wait outside for me. I'm like, "Okay, mom." And I'm just like running, and this turns it on. I'm like, "My ears." I hated that vacuum. It was the loudest thing ever.
My
Sarah's
German
like,
I'm sorry.
Sarah's
my
like,
German
oh, go
Shepherd
ahead,
used to like to bite it. Like she was really mad at it. It would come near her and she went. She hated the vacuum.
It made me
no,
cry.
Sarah's like I don't like you talk about like nostalgia. No, this is trauma, my friend. Trauma.
Right? Yeah. Elvis vacuum, man. It was the worst. It was so loud. I mean, I would hear it ringing in my ears for like hours afterwards. Like when a bird yells in my ear, I hear that for like hours afterward. Right? It was terrible.
Oh
Yeah,
my
I would
God.
cry. I would cry. It was so sad.
Yeah, we had a little poodle that whenever my mom would vacuum, would just like the whole time be standing in front of the vacuum cleaner, just barking at it the entire time she was vacuuming.
Oh my God, that's funny. That's
Um,
good.
That's great.
Yes. Vacuums, everyone.
Hoover.
Yeah. So yeah, Mega Maid. Just and also the name Mega Maid.
Mega Maid, of course.
Like,
Mega Maid.
yeah.
So when I start my
Transform
maid
into-
business, yeah. Could you imagine Autobots change and you get the maid? you got these like really cool things and like I'm the maid.
I swear to God, guys, I keep on asking you, can you be a little bit less destructive? I am so tired of cleaning up after you and no one picking up after themselves.
Right, and then you got the butler too. You gotta have that.
I could see the maid on the Enterprise. God, they made a mess again.
She's standing out there with her space.
No more
jacket
red
going,
shirts. Because they always leave the do you know how hard it is to get it out of a wall?
Space
Or
Station
off the
cereal, man.
floor.
Right.
Hey, Face, how you doing?
Okay, well, I'm going to move us ahead to talk about the X-Wing.
Oh,
Iconic.
I know it's not pictured in space, but it is actually a ship that can go into
what are you talking
space.
about? That's space snow. What are you talking about?
Space snow. I love the X-Wing because it does look like a fighter plane. It looks kind of like a jet with 4 wings instead of 2, right? But it's got those gigantic jet engines on it, and it's got the very very sharp nose. And just the fact that it's got the wings move up and down. You can have them in attack position or regular position. I don't know. There's just something about the X-Wing that is incredibly cool, and I can't exactly put my finger on it. It's like they tried to keep making new ships for the Rebels in Star Wars. You had the Y-Wing and the B-Wing and the A-Wing, but nothing was ever as cool as the X-Wing. The X-Wing is the iconic fighter.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Even in the video games, you want to fly the X-Wing.
Absolutely. Especially if it was like X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, because the TIE Fighters,
Oh yeah,
which are cool, have no shields, whereas the X-Wing has a shield.
Peppers just scream a lot. They're just always up there going everywhere
exactly.
they go. They're always screaming. They're like in pain. It's sad.
And yes, whereas the space battles in Star Trek are submarine fights, the space battles in Star Wars are dog fights. Yeah.
Right.
Anyway, does anyone else have
it-
anything to say about the X-Wing? Because
Yeah, I was gonna say, I really
I love.
like it
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead,
maneuverable.
sir.
It's just really maneuverable. I like how it can turn like pretty much on a dime. And I think in Babylon 5, the little fighter ships that they have, that they launch stuff, have a lot to do with like that design, in my opinion. It's a great design, honestly.
no, I agree.
Mhm.
And I just want to know, like, was it really that hard to put a dome over the R2D2, like over the astromech?
Oh well, see, yeah, because then he couldn't look charred when he got shot. So you want everybody to go, oh, the poor droid got shot. Weird.
And yes, Vim, it is the perfect design for a toy because it breaks easily.
Yeah, right. It is pretty aerodynamic, though. Gotta say that.
It's pretty easy
Yeah.
to build in Legos too.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'd hate to step on the Lego.
Oh,
Lego Star Wars is a great game series in general too.
Hmm. That's
Yes.
Oh yeah, even I've played that and I beat the game. So
No. The thing that I really love about the X-Wing is that it, because normally it's like, why does this look like this? Why make a spaceship that looks like a plane? That it's not necessary, right? But here, because it's used both terrestrially and in space, it makes total sense, right?
Exactly,
For it to
yeah.
look like a. And I like, if anyone has ever seen the someone break down the physics of, is this possible? Is this actually like able to be like, does the math enough for this to actually
Math.
fly like in an actual like real life? Like please put a link in any of the chats somewhere.
and that's when really
That would be
said,
great.
"Get a life, guys." Anyways,
Right. But no, because why we haven't built an X-Wing yet in real life just is mind-boggling to me. So
well, because like what
that's-
Tug said there, they break real easy.
they do break really easily.
So we're trying
But-
to like not do that. I guess.
I'm incredibly surprised that we haven't built
There's really no place to put enough fuel for 4 jet engines on that small of a craft. That's probably why.
well, true, but like some kind of design of like that's similar to that, like with as many like Star Trek and Star Wars like geeks that we have in aeronautics, like how like somebody at Raytheon or Northrop Grumman or whatever.
Northrop.
Like, by the way, not a advertiser with this channel or anything like that. So I want to put that out. But-
Yeah, I have beef with Northrop Grumman. We won't get into it. But
My mom
no,
used to
no,
work
no,
for
no,
Northrop.
I have
used to
beef
work
with
for
all of
Northrop.
them. So yeah.
And my dad worked for
but-
Hughes.
But like like with all of these like aeronautic like companies, right, and these military defense companies or whatever, how someone hasn't like designed this is amazing. Is blows my mind. Unless
Well,
it's just sitting out there and they were like, we're not doing that. That's stupid.
Well,
Or
it's like
somebody
playing
has
sausage
it and
butter.
just isn't
Yeah.
showing it to anybody.
Right.
Oh, man. There you go.
I have to
They're going
look
to
up
wait
to
for their
see if some.
killdozer moment.
There you go.
One day they're just going to snap and use their X-Wing to like blow up an IRS building or something.
Oh, God.
And people will be like, you know what? We'll
Oh,
let you go
no.
with that.
Anyways, there you go. Hey, NASA, I will make fun of you for the day you die, of course, but you should totally make it one of those, okay? Because they make all happy, but also make fun of you, I promise. NASA, everybody.
Okay, Sarah. Well, now it is your turn again.
All right. Well, then I was thinking like in Voyager, right? You know, when they were always trying to get home, except for they never did because they weren't really trying to get home. They made the Delta Flyer, and I like the Delta Flyer because Tom Paris is Mr. I like nostalgia things. So then he put the levers and knobs in it and dials. And I always thought that was pretty interesting because he like Captain Proton and things like that, right? And it's like Tom Paris is kind of an annoying character in general, but his nostalgia factor was always pretty fun. So he made a holodeck characters, and then they always were trying to kill the ships. But yeah, that ship is pretty amazing. They were always losing shuttlecraft somehow, and then never losing them either. But anyways, the Delta Flyer, right? They went to the max warp and were everywhere at once, and then Tom and Janeway became platypuses because natural evolution of man went from cave thing to platypus.
Because that's totally how evolution works, right?
Yeah. You go that way. Weird. Anyways, platypus, everybody. But the ship itself, I thought, looked pretty sleek. It could go on that water planet just fine. It could handle the pressure of the water overall. It was kind of a cool idea, and I did like the fact that he did put the levers and stuff in it too. It was maneuverable, and it's definitely one of those one-of-a-kind ships that you're like, no, that's totally ours, and here's why. I really did like the Delta Flyer. It's kind of a dumb name, but whatever. I guess it's better than the Tom Paris. Like, the tie would be terrible.
Well, from the top, it kind of looks like a Delta symbol. That's why I think it's called the Delta Flyer.
Right? Yeah, I get it. But at the same time, it was pretty functional. It worked for the space they were in, right? Because in the Federation, a lot of that stuff wasn't necessary because all the Federation people and them all are pretty much all the same, right? Except for the Ferengi had to buy technology from the Romulans to go to war because, of course. But they go on the way missions. I liked it. I thought it was a good idea. It was I just liked it.
I do like that it kind of fits the same aesthetic as the Voyager. It looks a little kind of stubby and fat, like the Voyager does, as opposed to like the Enterprise, which is all skinny and lean.
Right.
And as a shuttlecraft, it's way cooler looking than the regular shuttlecraft.
It's better looking at a runabout as well.
Yeah, totally.
Runabouts just look like a cheese block, and they just went flying around on it. And the shuttlecrafts, basically look like a hand phaser. That was neat, but that had a different look to it. There was no other ships that looked like it either.
And it looks like it could fly like through the atmosphere. It looks more aerodynamic. Mm-hmm. It looks like what a shuttlecraft should look like, but also cooler than the big flying bricks that you had in regular Star Trek.
Right. So this is like a wedge of brie cheese. Okay, so much cooler. Everything else is like the big block, right? It's just there you go. The cheese, everybody. These are cheese ships.
It reminds me of something like this would be like not only good in the space, but good on the water, like going under the water.
Well, they did that on an episode of this planet. Was all the water was on the planet, right? And somehow losing water, and then they realized it wasn't a natural phenomenon because, of course. Mm-hmm. Anyways, and then Tom steals the ship. Ends up in the brig afterwards, and then writes a letter to his dad. Oh gosh, it was so lame. Anyways, but Voyager,
it was Voyager, so yeah, of course. It was
it just looks like
they had some good ones,
0 to 1,000 bazillion. It just looks like infinitesimal. It could just fly and go underwater all day, all night.
Well, yeah, and they did. You know, and they were always crashing it too. It was always flying in front of Voyager trying to get it home, but then they would crash because, of course, you know. And you know how many times they then took that ship and went back in time to save Voyager again, which never really worked because, of course. Anyways, the moral of the story is I like Star Trek. It's my thing. Up until Discovery and then Picard, I was like, what is that?
Yeah, but Brave New Worlds brought it back. Brave New Worlds is great.
I just haven't had a chance to watch it yet. But also, I like Lower Decks. Lower Decks was great.
Lower Decks is good too, yes.
Oh,
Absolutely.
yeah. I mean, the original Star Trek cartoon was pretty good. Yeah, it's goodish. The Lower Decks is way better.
I'm with you.
Mm-hmm. But it's still all better than the holiday special. So, there you go.
I don't know why you want me to pick sides. Like I've told you before, if I had to pick between Star Wars and Star Trek, I would pick Star Trek, but I still love Star Wars.
Well, no, Star Wars is good up until it wasn't. Anyways.
And we don't need to get into that. We don't need to get into modern Star Wars. Okay.
Right. But anyway, so the Delta Flyer, everyone. It's brie cheese. But
okay,
yeah,
Tracy, I think it's your turn again.
I did really like that ship.
The one I liked was Serenity from Firefly.
Oh, there we go. Let me see if I can pull it.
I haven't watched that series yet. I'm going to, I swear.
You've never seen
Firefly was great, and it never.
No,
really
I was a nanny during that time it was out. I just never had time. Like literally never had time. And everyone's like, "Well, you make time for Star Trek." I'm like, "Of course I do. It's Star Trek."
Okay, that's a small picture. Let's find a bigger one.
So anyway, Firefly. When they said, I will catch up.
Yeah, no, Firefly was great. I mean, I really wish they would have had more shows and have an
Yeah, it's not very
ending
much to
episode.
watch.
You know, it's pretty sad because they got was it canceled or something like that?
Yeah, it didn't even make it past
Was
the
it
first
Kim
season.
Sorbo in it? Kim Sorbo was in it, right?
Ken Sorbo?
No, Kevin Sorbo. You know the guy who played Hercules.
Yeah, I know who you talk. I don't remember him being in it.
Okay, then maybe
I
I'll
know that Adam Baldwin was in it
Oh yeah,
from My Bodyguard.
Jane.
Uh huh.
Come on, I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time finding a big picture of it. There we go. Open image.
So he's slamming that mouse. Like, what
Sorry,
you doing?
sometimes it won't listen to me unless I do that.
Right? Because she was boss.
No, TV's not working. Oh, we'll hit it.
Exactly.
it.
Percussive therapy. I have an engineer wife. That's what she calls it.
Oh, jeez.
I love it.
Oh my God.
Well, that looks like a Buick.
That's the idea. It's supposed to look cobbled together. It's kind of like that Millennium Falcon aesthetic.
No, this looks like a Buick.
King it. Could be a Lincoln or an Oldsmobile too.
But yeah, the three of
You're
them
gonna
together,
make
you're
me
right.
cry. But no, we did talk about this in the previous episode, I think, didn't we? I know Tracy.
Yeah,
wasn't
but
here.
that's all right. That's right.
Give
She
me
wasn't
that.
here. Like.
Yeah, we also talked about the chorus too, but I don't care. I'll talk about it again. It's a great show.
It's fine.
I'm telling you, the thing just will kill me.
But yeah, I like that it's a smuggling ship like the Millennium Falcon. But this one's a lot sturdier. Like, I mean, it looks like you could beat this thing up and it would be fine. Like,
Yeah, you
you
can see the
could,
basal bat marks.
it kind of looks like it has been beat up a few times. And Kaylee, the engineer, she's fantastic. I love her. I love her so much. Anyway, I'm distracted now. Somebody else say something, please.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
ship.
just love that show.
No, it's a great show, and I'm surprised Sarah hasn't watched it. Like me not having seen Doctor Who is one thing because there's so much Doctor Who. You can knock out Firefly in a day if you really want to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I gotta find it again. I was gonna watch it like a few months back, but then I moved and then I never did. So I'm gonna get there. I promise. I swear.
One thing about it is, yeah, it's a smuggling ship, but it's looks kind of beaten. But then guess what? If it's a smuggling thing, then you don't want a good looking thing. It'll stand out.
You don't want it to stand out, right?
Yeah, it's like Mercedes or like Chevy.
It's a Ford.
I like that.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, it's interesting looking.
Yeah.
I mean,
Looks
like
like-
No, I love that it looks
looks like
almost
a bit of
Vulture-esque.
It does look like a vulture. That's actually what I was thinking. Kind of like a bird head on a neck. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a phoenix. Kind of has like a phoenix, like the long neck and the kind of dinosaur looking head. Then like T-Rex arms with the engines. Could you imagine if like birds couldn't?
Yeah, Vim, you're completely right. The movie is absolutely like you can absolutely watch that like separate of the show. And
I actually
and
did
you'll
see the
be just
movie
fine.
first, and then I watched the show. And yeah, you can totally understand what's happening in the movie, even though the movie does a really good job tying up a lot of loose ends. Like you don't feel it if you haven't seen the show. Like it doesn't throw it in your face that you don't know what they're talking about. Like it's very, very good at that, which is
Yeah.
impressive. Anyway,
Yeah.
but I do always get confused. Like Serenity is the movie and Firefly is the show, right?
Yeah.
Ah.
That I didn't know. I'll have to figure that out. All right.
Okay, so now it is your turn again, Harold. Harold.
right.
This will be the last
So-
one, and then we're gonna wrap it up.
Yeah, so this one it's going to be a little bit hard to see. I tried to find, it's a small one, and then while everyone was like doing their thing, I was trying to like go in Canva and make it so that it's at least large enough to be able to be seen. But this is the Gargantuan from Venture Brothers. It's the space station.
course.
It is, and again, it's like it's iconic because Rusty and his Siamese fetus twin brother, whom he thought he ate. Yes. And so like he's when you have like your sibling attached to you in the womb,
Parasitic twin?
like yes, like the I can't remember the like the medical term is escaping me at this moment, but like
Parasitic with twin marks.
yeah, so you've got he's got a brother, and the battle between the two that's so one-sided, that's completely one-sided, and yet Rusty like loses out all the time. It's just it's so phenomenal, and again, this ship is such. It's not a huge part of the show, but it is an iconic part of the show, or at least to me, because so many wonderful episodes occur on it. And some of the dynamics between Rusty and his brother, between a number of different people, like it's great, and it looks weird, it looks awkward, and it's just fantastic. I love it. It's and to me, it does look like a
Golf
space
balls
station.
and volleyballs.
Like it's actually a really good looking space station to me. And so thank you for finding a better image.
I tried to find a slightly better resolution, but yeah, while you were talking.
No, I appreciate
Yes.
that. Yeah. No, like, because it looks like a space station. It looks, for as funny as the show is, like, it's got some really, really great sci-fi components to it. And
It reminds me of a lot of different sci-fi, like the balls kind of remind me of the Discovery One, and like if the Discovery One were like wrapped around itself,
Yeah.
And the bottom of it kind of reminds me of the space elevator from the J.J. Abrams Star Trek.
Yeah,
Yeah,
what
there's
was
some
that
good stuff
too?
But it looks like a combination, and it's not even a complete circle for the docking and everything. But but it's just, to me, it looks like they did a great job in designing. It does give you a probe. Oh, that's great. That's so great. Oh my god. Oh,
I was
my God.
thinking it
I've
looked
never-
like on my screen. It looks like a
snarky.
rose, like the thorns.
Oh yeah, it does kind of. I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but that probe is never like anytime I rewatch the show, that probe concept is never leaving my brain now. And so I'm gonna see that forever. But yeah, no, it's like I really like if you've ever watched the show, if you haven't, you need to watch the show. It's Johnny. Oh, what's the 70s show? Johnny Quest. It's a play on Johnny Quest, right? But it's a play on a bunch of different nostalgic cartoons from like the 70s. And really does a great job with it, yet makes itself its own. And so if you haven't seen it and you love nostalgia like shows, this is a modern show that does a phenomenal job of honoring in a very, very funny way the nostalgic shows of old. It's great. It's great. So definitely if you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. Go watch it. You will laugh. You will laugh so much. It's also got Peter Wolbroughton or Peter what's it he played he's got the really great deep voice. He played the Tick in the he was the voice of the animated. He's also on Family Guy, the guy in the wheelchair, but
that guy. Yeah, I can't think of his name either. But that guy.
Yes, but he's got the great voice. He plays Brock Sampson, who's like the bodyguard and like and everything. It's so bizarre that it's so great. It's awesome. So I would definitely check out that show. And it's not in the early points, but later on, it's a great sci-fi cartoon. So
I agree. I've only seen a couple episodes, but they did make me laugh. I have one to watch again.
I'll have to
Jesus, Hank, what's wrong with you? Like, it's still one of my. It's in the first season, and it's later on, and you start to kind of get like this bodyguard just like going like, "I'm at my wit's end with you, boy. Like, I don't know, like what's wrong with your brain?" Like,
the boy was dying too.
Putty. He was Putty in Seinfeld, I think it is the name.
Oh, Patrick Warburton.
Yes,
Yeah.
Patrick Warburton.
Yes,
That's
that
what it
guy.
is. Yeah, like he's just he plays Brock Sampson and he is the bodyguard. And there's this one moment where he's like, "Jesus, Hank, what's wrong with you?" Like it's perfect. It's perfect. It's perfect. It's great. And I think that's just a running like him, like this great top CIA agent just losing hope in humanity the longer that he's with this group is phenomenal. So
yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Wakey.
I think I lie too sometimes.
I guess we should call it. But Danny apparently has a video of a flying saucer for you all to check out that landed in his
cool.
backyard.
Thanks, Danny.
And Bigfoot came out of it, of course. Yeah, he was there for it. He catches it all. He's amazing.
And if you stick around on my channel in about half an hour, I'm dropping a review of Gremlins 2, which
yes,
I love that movie. It's so insane. And other than that, like I stream on Twitch on Thursday nights, and I'll have another one of these next week. We will finish out. Is next week the last Sunday? No, there's got to be two more, right? Yeah. So we got two more of these where we talk about spaceships, and then we'll move on to something different in October. And maybe Damien and Thrash will be back, and of course, everybody who is here can come back.
I got to see if I can get Linja the Space Ninja to join us one weekend before that we finish out.
That's cool.
Yeah,
That'd be cool.
yeah. I gotta see if we can get her to join us one weekend, so to get her input.
If she doesn't want to show her
favorite.
face, she can do the thing where it's just the logo.
But yeah, I want to get her in talking with spaceships.
Definitely. So like I'm pretty sure Thrash has a show tonight. You can check him out. Thrash Pondo Pawns. and I'll be in the chat probably, unless I'm too busy making dinner or something,
I was just doing vacuuming, but whatever.
or vacuuming, right, or playing chess with
Sucking and
Romanian or
blowing.
something,
Playing chess, huh? All right.
whatever that means.
Watching how they make rubber bands.
How it's made.
Nothing
Really.
more fascinating.
I have seen a lot of how it's made. My son, when he was growing up, that was like his favorite thing in the world. He didn't want to watch PBS shows. He didn't want to watch Dora the Explorer, none of that. He wanted to watch how it's made, which I was all for it. That was great.
We watched a lot of how it's made too, and now I know too much about factories, and I'm like,
No.
And dirty jobs. I don't want to do that either. I'm like, oh well,
Whatever you do, don't look at Indy's folder that's titled chest. Okay, that's all I can. That's all I can.
Right?
Whatever you do, don't look at that folder. And so,
Okay, so everybody else can now do their own plugs. So we'll start with you, Sarah. What have you got?
This Thursday, Snarky and I are going live, and we're gonna do Talk Like a Pirate Day. Would be great. Yeah. So we got. I got. Oops. My little. It's supposed to be my pirate hat. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
And
works.
I'll have my bird on me because pirate. And I talked to Pickles. She said, "Yeah, should totally be on my show." And I was like, "Thanks, Bird." I mean Pickles. And so that's gonna be good. So that'll be Thursday, and then I'll be on Saturday, and then here again Sunday, and that's so far what I have. Oh, and I think Tuesday, my friend Cooking in Silence and I are supposed to finally do a show about ranking bald men because bald men are the hottest men out there. #facts. So we might be doing that.
I'm
on
not going to
Tuesday's
disagree
special.
with
Right?
that.
Right? So there you go. The bald men, everybody. Them.
Okay, Tracy, what have you got going on your
What
channel?
I've got is I'm going to drop another Hollywood story from like the 30s.
Nice.
And so
those.
that's what I'm working on right now. I'll have that out probably at the end of the week. But it's a cool story,
I gotta catch up
I
on
know
your
a lot
channel.
of people have covered. I know a lot of people have covered it, but it's like thank you. But it's just I just like those old stories, so I like to tell it from my point of view and my perspective.
That's
Yeah, I feel
awesome.
like you can never
Excellent.
tell those stories too many times. Like they're always
Right.
fascinating to me.
Yeah, they're
So-
interesting, and the
yeah.
more I learn, the more I listen to other people, it's like the more I learn, and it's like things I don't really have an interest in, I'll still watch because guess what? There's nothing too much to learn,
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
great.
Mhm.
Okay, what about you, Harold? What do you got?
Arr.
So Tuesdays and Saturdays, myself and Tug, we do 7 Days to Die on Twitch, and that's 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Thursdays and Fridays, I do Baldur's Gate 3. Thursday, I do it with Anomaly, and it's Choose Our Adventure, where the audience we've got an interface where the audience gets to pick for us, and they have tortured us in many, many different unique ways as we go through this gameplay. And then my Lynch of the Space Ninja and I on so that one's 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific. So that one we do Thursday, we do a little bit later. Then on Fridays, it's again 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. We do
Eastern. Sorry.
we do my wife Lynch of the Space Ninja and I do Baldur's Gate 3, and it's a role play where I'm a necromancer trying to bring back my family that's been killed by goblins, and Lynch of the Space Ninja is a shadow monk assassin who was raided by humans. She's a half elf and is the product of some not nice things, and so she's trying to get her vengeance and play out. So
It's
a
all
little bit
based
of,
on
like,
their real
psychological-
life.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was just gonna say
So-
Wow.
that's therapy session, right?
So we try to play it out. Like, I'm a human. She hates humans. It's fun, and so it's like we
Wow.
try to get into like some of the like when we're making our choices, like get into like the mindsets, the character developments, different things like that, as to why we're making these choices, why certain things, like all that. And so, yeah, so it's fun. And then Anomaly is talking about possibly getting 4 of us together, because you can have a group of 4 so 4 people together to do what's called honor mode in Baldur's Gate 3, where there is no saving, there is no, as far as like reloading or anything like that. Whatever happens, and that's it. You just have to live with it. And then having the audience choose like everything. And so like if one of the 4 of us dies, that's it. There's no coming back from that. Like, you know, blah, 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 like stuff like that. Right. And so if they make choices that wipe us out, there's no reloading the game. It's just, that's what happens. And so, yeah, so the audience really gets to make some serious choices that have consequences. At first I was like, you're a lunatic. That's ridiculous. We're never going to do that. Then I thought about it and I'm like, that'll be phenomenal. Right. And so, so the audience gets to vote on that. And so that's something that we're talking
That's
about
so
getting in the
cool.
work stuff. Yeah.
Well, like
And
they
so
have the
just to
Rocky
have some
Picture
fun
Horror
stuff.
Show, right? And they have the interactive stuff. So you can only
That's what I was
imagine
about
that
to
on a video
say.
game level to more epic. I mean,
So
that's just
everybody
Resident
gets-
Throne.
Everybody gets a chance to play.
So I've built up friends and if you go to my TikTok, it like the pinned are my schedule, right? But I've got friends on TikTok, friends on YouTube, and friends on Twitch. So I'm gonna be hitting up people with messages about doing my Hatter chats and some of the topics that people want to do. So I'll be trying to find a time that works for everybody. And so we got people from England, we got people from Australia, we got people from the US, Canada. Yeah. So like trying to get like a group and just kind of talk about these like themes and these topics and doing the Hatter chats that way. And so, yeah.
I should get Lynn on, see if you can fix him, because he's very broken.
But like just like getting like insights and what are people thoughts about these like different topics and a little bit. So bringing in those Hatter chats, because I've been wanting to do those for a while, and how like really thinking about how best to do those. And so in a fun way for everyone. So I'll be hitting people up with that. And then also it'll introduce some of the TikTok groups and Twitch groups and YouTube cross platforms, so to hopefully draw more viewerships and fans and you know,
Harold's
like
all about the cross promos.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
he's a
that's
crossover
right.
kind of guy.
Yeah, I anything cross I do, and so I'm all about it. And so
Well, my channel's
Yeah,
full of
that
crosses.
sounds so interesting.
yeah, so it like I'm hoping like, so I'm gonna be reaching out to people, and I like right now I'm thinking like monthly, so it's easy for people, stuff like that. And then so I'm coming up with 12 topics and we'll be hitting people up. So
Wow.
all right.
I'm impressed.
Okay. Well, in that case, until next time, this is the Unapologetic Geek telling you to never be ashamed of what you love,
Unless it's
as long
me.
as you're not hurting anybody.
Thank you and good night.